Are we all responsible for terror attacks? Is society at least partly to blame? Well, some people think so. Even one of libertarianism's greatest heroes, Ron Paul, even he always talks about blowback. The idea that terrorism is some kind of violent reaction to military interventions in the West. And others apologise for terrorists. They say they were victims of violence, of brutality, racism and prejudice, or they lacked professional opportunities. And let's be honest, most of those things are probably true to a certain extent. So does that make us, as individuals, responsible for the actions of others? Well, to be responsible for something, you have to be in control of it. If you're not in control of it, then you can't possibly be held responsible for it. And yet we are all individually, to maybe in just a small way, we are all held responsible for the actions of tens of millions of other people whom we've never met. And the idea of collective responsibility, it goes further. Not only are we held morally responsible, but we're also expected to take the consequences for the decisions of others. We just don't have to face the consequences of our choices anymore. If we succeed, we're said to have succeeded only thanks to society around us. We couldn't possibly succeed without a society. We get very little recognition for our good choices, our brave decisions, the risks that we took, the fact that we aspired to something better, and not only that we aspired, but we actually did something to get us there. No, we only succeeded thanks to society, and therefore we owe society a debt, and we're expected to share the fruits of our success with everyone else in society. And you know what? I can't think of a more self-deprecating belief system than that. I mean, where is the self-esteem? Where is the pride in knowing that we succeeded thanks to our choices? If we fail, well, we fail because we're oppressed, or we are disadvantaged, or we're discriminated against. Society doesn't give any thought to how our mistakes and failings might have at least contributed to where we are today. No, we always think about how society has wronged us, how the individual is exploited by the people around them. And therefore, the people around them, society, they owe the victim a debt, and that debt must be repaid. And people with this victim mentality, they are rendered utterly powerless by this belief system. And they are completely unable to look at themselves honestly and say, you know what, maybe I have been dealt some harsh cards in life, but how have my choices, how have my decisions contributed and led me to where I am today? And what could I do differently moving forward? You see, with collective responsibility, there are no winners. There are only victims. And what's even worse is that if someone commits a murder, well, it's because society made them. It's because the murderer is actually a victim. And we see this when people blame racism and foreign policy for terrorists. We always say that the victim has been wronged by society, and almost like they've been driven to violence through no fault of their own. And you know what that makes us? This is the worst part about this. That makes all of us individually accomplices to murder. The idea of collective responsibility, it is a sick and twisted idea. And we can't control people with this mentality, that they cannot be reasoned with, that there is probably only one thing that we can do, and that is to lead by example. We take responsibility of our own lives. We take responsibility for the consequences of our choices, and taking responsibility for the good consequences is easy, but we also need to take responsibility for the bad consequences. And you know what I think we should do? I think we should refuse to help people who refuse to help themselves. Yeah, I think the only people we should be actively helping, the people we should be showing kindness and compassion to, are those people who are genuine victims of events outside of their control. And probably also people who are trying very, very hard to take responsibility for their own lives. We should help them. If anything, just in our own self-interest, we should help people become more self-reliant. You know, I find libertarianism to be an extremely empowering belief, because we accept that we cannot always control the cards that we are dealt in life. But we can play the hell out of those cards. My name's Will Taylor. Thank you for listening. If you want to get in touch with us, please look us up on www.libertarianpartyuk.com. Thank you for listening. I'll speak to you soon.